Welcome back to another video. My name is Abby, and today we are talking about the law of assumption and your mental diet. Now, if you're new to this channel and you want more videos like this one, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button. It's going to let you know when I release new videos. And if you like this video, a great way to support this channel and spread this information is to simply by clicking that like button. It really helps spread this information. So, the law of assumption and your mental diet. First, let's make sure we all know what the law of assumption is. It comes from the great mystic teacher, Neville Goddard, who was teaching this stuff in the 40s through 60s. To assume something, in the words of Neville Goddard, is to give permission and consent for that to be true. So basically, you act in life according to that idea of being true. You're assuming it, you're giving it a power and creating, in a sense, a boundary around yourself. If you assume a certain thing about your finances, if you assume that you're only able to make $40,000, well, you're giving permission and consent for that concept of how you are in the world to be true. So how it actually works for your brain, because your self-concept, which is the seed of who it is and how it is that you see yourself to be, and essentially what is creating your state of being, because with Dr. Joe Dispenza, we know how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So if in your concept, deep in your subconscious, you're saying, I am only capable of making $40,000, that is your assumption. Well, according to the law of assumption, you're giving it permission and consent to be true. When you go out into the world, things like your reticular activating system, which is a filtration system in your brain, will go out and actually block out anything that actually will go against that. So you have something called confirmation bias. You go out and find situations and people and ideas that prove to you who it is you think you are is true. You're confirming who it is you think is true. You're confirming those assumptions to be true. So, for instance, that $40,000 example, you're going out, you won't see the opportunities that would give you $60,000 or $80,000 or even $100,000. You won't see that path of who it is you could evolve into be, where your assumptions would change that you're capable of making $100,000. You'll actually only be able to perceive with your senses. That means literally your eyes will not see anything. Your ears will not be able to pick it up because it is outside your realm of perception. You never see the world as it is. You see the world as you are, meaning you can only see through your brain, not your eyes. So the law of assumption. So we're moving through the world with these assumptions. And where do those assumptions come from? Well, they're essentially our program. From 0 to 7 years old is where we get most of these programs. Why? Because we're actually in theta brainwave. It is like a sleepy state where things are going directly into our subconscious. We're seeing them happening. We're hearing people tell us basically how the world is, and we store them to be true because we're a child at that time. What happens though, as we move into our adult life, we never re-reason on those things. They actually become implicit memories. We don't remember them, but we do act off of them. So we have all of these unconscious assumptions. A belief is a thought you had over and over and over again. Perceptions or beliefs over and over and over, fortified, where they change and shape how you perceive the world. And in those are assumptions. When you change your assumptions, well, maybe I am capable of making $60,000. And in Dr. Joe Dispenza's teaching, you actually use your frontal lobe, which is 40% of your brain, the CEO, the boss of your brain, and you start asking it questions like that. Well, what would it be like? Who would I need to be? What assumptions would I need to have about myself to make $60,000? And you start seeing yourself. Your frontal lobe will actually look at your pre-existing networks that you have and rearranging them, giving you new visions, giving you new potentials of what that might look like. Then you're having new thoughts. It's going to produce a new feeling, because every time you have a thought, your body produces a chemical. So your body can feel the way you're thinking. So having new thoughts and new feelings. And what did we say earlier? We know that your state of being is how you think and how you feel. So you're starting to see these shifts that as you change your assumption, as you even confront what your assumptions are and really dig into what would I need to assume to have the life that I have right now? And then more importantly, What would I need to assume to have that wish fulfilled? Who would I need to be? And really using Neville Goddard's other principle of living in the end, having that inversion of you, those lists of assumptions, those lists of self-concepts, and embracing them right now. Being that version of you right now. And using Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings, this would actually be collapsing the wave and actually turning matter into particle, because we know that in quantum physics, the wave duality theory actually shares that matter, which is everything that we can observe in the universe, acts as both a wave, which we can't see, which is only potential, and a particle, which is what we physically can experience in this life. So as we observe it, as we start thinking about it, as we start having these new assumptions, we'll actually collapse that potential into 3D. So your mental diet, what does that mean? It's basically what you're allowing the chatter in your head. And I've had somebody else ask this, well, how much time would you need to spend? What percentage of your diet mentally needs to be this or that? And it's much more so about what you're believing. What does that idea do to your state of being? Do you have a glimpse that goes in your head of doubt or worry, and it completely changes the way you're thinking and feeling? Because that's a lot different than somebody saying something negative, but you are so rooted in living in the end, nothing outside in your external world is going to change the way you're thinking and the way you're feeling, because you're in that state of being that you want to be in. You're embodying it now. Because the only difference between what you want to feel when you have that financial security, when you have that secure relationship, that feeling it's going to bring of wholeness, completeness, you can feel that now, and you'll actually need to feel it now before you actually experience it in your 3D reality. So it's critical to really get the most out of the law of assumption by paying attention to what your mental diet is. And we can see an example, an analogy, is what you actually eat. Somebody who's looking to lose weight, you need to start being observant and aware of what you're actually eating. You can't have hamburgers every day and cake at night and then expect to go into a bodybuilding competition, right? There are certain things that align with different body types with the food that you eat, just the same as there are different states of beings, different frequencies that align with the thoughts that you have. So someone who is constantly full of doubt that rattles them, that is stirring up those negative thoughts and moving them into the old state of being, well, we need to become aware. You need to really look and see what is triggering that. That could potentially be an implicit memory where something is triggering you. Someone says something, someone reminds you of something, and it actually shifts you back into the old state of being. The more you bring awareness and consciousness, which is light, the more you can see it from a higher level of perspective, reason on it, and move forward. Stepping into that law of assumption, changing your default state of being, your default how you think and how you feel, so you're not rattled, you're not thrown off when someone says something, when there's something else in your 3D world that goes against what you're trying to do. You could potentially be discouraged. You know that you're planting the seeds, you're feeling those emotions right now, which is impressing your subconscious, and eventually you will see that reflected in your 3D. So your mental diet and what you're allowing to continually circulate in your brain, and specifically using the time when you go to bed at night, right before you're going to sleep, those last 5 minutes, which when you start getting to theta brainwave, and when you first wake up in the morning, really feeling what that wish fulfilled will be. These are impressing deeply and bringing that reality into your 3D world. So when you're using the law of assumption, make sure that you're really analyzing and being aware of what you're thinking on a moment-to-moment and day-to-day basis. How you think and how you feel is what is your state of being, and what your state of being is what you're going to see reflected in your life. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.